Attention. Due to the nature of the films discussed, the Civil Gore podcast may contain adult language and themes.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to episode 65 of the Civil Gore podcast. I am your host, Tim.
And I am your host, Brian. And one of the movies we discussed tonight is The Curse of Chucky, and he may have already struck. And this is our second attempt to start this show after some technical difficulties.
Thundering and lightning over here, so we don't know if we'll even make it through the show. So
yeah, and then my computer all of a sudden decided to just switch on Skype. The microphone switched, and Tim could not hear me, and it was just a shambles. Good thing we're only a few minutes in. So we're starting over, but of course we could have got away with it without you knowing it, but we're very honest with our listeners, so we tell you everything.
We give you a little behind-the-scenes peek at the work effort involved.
Yes, exactly.
So yeah, we're kicking off the second part of our Summer Slaycation series on Chucky. And tonight we'll be covering the rest of the films in the Child's Play series and talking about what the future holds for the Child's Play franchise.
Yes.
So let's get right into it. Let's kick things off with our first chop. So, Brian, I've been continuing the backlog project. We'll get through it one of these days, I promise.
You lie! I did a Nick Hudson there, you know.
Hey, I will say, I have not bought anything. I've been very, very good about not buying new discs, so I will make it to the end. I'm down to 12 discs left.
And you still could cheat. I think you should buy yourself something.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
buy the Terrifier like I did. I bought the Terrifier. You need.
I've been avoiding the Blu-ray deals page like the plague.
Oh yeah, you got to be careful.
Oh, actually, I take that back. I did buy the Hellraiser stuff, but that was for the show.
Oh yeah, right.
That
doesn't count. That doesn't count.
Yeah, it doesn't count. So the next one up on my list was The Mummy's Ghost from 1944. This is, of course, another entry in the Mummy franchise. And if you recall, I really liked the last one I saw, which was I can't remember. It was The Mummy's Tomb, I think.
I don't remember which one it is.
Whatever one, go listen to the last episode. Is what the last episode I did a Mummy review on. But this one was kind of took a step back for the series. This one's kind of a generic plot line. In fact, they spend a good deal of the movie, in fact, the intro, going back and rehashing stuff that happened before. So it's almost like just kind of a reboot of the whole Mummy plot. He's looking for his princess, and they bring up the weird leaves or whatever you have to brew to make him come alive again. And Lon Chaney plays the mummy, and it's even my daughter came in and said, "That makeup's terrible. You can see his hair." So even she wasn't impressed with it. But yeah, I'm sitting here watching it, and I hear the guy go, "Come on, penis." And I was like, what? And I look around, and I'm like, this is from 1944. Did he just say what I thought he did?
What were you watching, Tim?
And and every now and again, I would hear him go, "Come on, Peanuts." And I was... I finally figured out they have a dog named Peanuts. And the way the guy pronounced it was Peanuts. And it sounded just like he was saying penis the whole time. So that was maybe the best part of this whole movie, was waiting for him to call the dog.
Oh, no.
So, like every Universal film, they all have their charms, so... It's worth watching for that alone, but not one of my favorite entries in the Mummy franchise so far.
And that's in the Mummy box set?
That is in the Mummy box set, yes.
Now, I know next on the rundown is your alphabet project. Maybe we should skip ahead to number 3, just since we kind of had the lead in there with Peanuts and Penis over there.
Yeah, take that one.
Yeah, so much to... Well, I don't know if it's to our chagrin or not, because I think we knew this was coming. We just didn't know when, so... But basically, they finally announced that Universal is doing a 30-disc box set of all the monster movies. I know Tim and I have been buying them all along with the small box sets, which at some level I like a little better, because sometimes those big like giant sets are like, you know, they take up a lot of shelf space, you know. And as much as I buy all those sets, sometimes I like the breakdown in this a little better, you know, because sometimes they skimp out the way they package the discs, and it's really like you open one and they all fall out all over the place, and so
I'd much rather have the individual collections, I think, especially since I bet you, I mean, we got a lot of ours on sale, really good deals,
right? We did.
So I'd be surprised if you could get that entire collection cheaper than what we bought the individuals for, considering we bought them pretty much all on discount. So.
Right, and I didn't look in there, so I'm wondering what 30 movies there are in there, because, I mean, how many are there total, like, out of it?
I'd have to count the ones in my box set, and then, of course, the Invisible Man and the Creature box sets are coming out. So we'd have to see if that's what the 30 are. I can't imagine they would add movies that weren't already in those. It seemed like just a compilation. But I figured they'll probably have at least 15 copies of Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein's.
Right. Yeah, that's right. That's half the disc right there. So because if they're just mimicking the other sets and those are in every one, I would think that would be the case. So yeah. So I
don't know. But speaking of classic monsters, I actually did a kind of I guess you can call it a classic monster archetype for the Alphabet Project. I was on letter J, which J is hard. I've already seen Jeepers Creepers, Jaws, and Jigsaw. So
you're in there.
I've pretty much seen all the J movies. So I'm going through Amazon Prime looking for J, and it's like Jack Frost. Oh no,
wasn't there one like Jezebel or something? That's a J.
There was,
right?
I almost picked that one. Finally, I happened to just run across, just digging through Prime and found a Jekyll and Hyde movie. Literally called Jekyll and Hyde.
Was it the David Hasselhoff version? Or
no. But it did feature one of our favorite celebrities.
Oh boy,
Mr. Michael Caine.
Oh, Michael Caine. I was in that. I don't remember.
Yeah. But you'd be disappointed, Brian, because he shed his Cockney accent for this role.
Then that's not really him.
Yeah, he had to be a civilized English gentleman for this one, so he couldn't break out the Cockney accent that we all know and love.
That's like Nick Cage going into a movie like with a Western accent, like a Western accent. And
I was kind of disappointed because I wanted to see Michael Caine, but it's pretty decent. It was a 1990 TV movie, and it's actually a decent adaptation. The Hyde makeup is very interesting. Michael Caine is completely unrecognizable in it.
Well, obviously, I mean, that's why they made him do his voice different, I guess, right?
Yeah, but it comes off as, it almost looks like Sloth from the Goonies. That's how, deformed Hyde is. So he's very monstrous and stuff, which is kind of a neat take. Because a lot of times in the Jekyll and Hyde stuff, they'll make him, just, not quite as brutish. He'll be, just an evil-looking...
Or he just makes a weird face.
Yeah, like a snarl or something. This was like a complete, deformed transformation. And there's kind of a cool twist on the story at the end, which I really liked. So, I'd recommend checking this one out on Prime since it's free.
I have to look at this. Yeah.
It does have a scene. I don't know if the whole movie is set this, but there was one scene that prominently featured Limehouse. So
really?
Apparently that's a place in England. That's where the Limehouse Gollum got his name.
Look at that. Maybe they were trying to set up the Limehouse expanded universe way back then.
Yeah, so now we just need the Limehouse Dracula and all.
Yeah. That. Well, there you go. Kickstarter 101 and 102. But I think maybe they had to drop his accent because they'd have to spell it different. They'd have to Jekyll and Hyde. They'd have to
Hyde to be HYDE.
Yeah, they'd have to do the spelling, and the font was already printed. And they're like, "All right, Mr. Caine, we kind of need you to just drop the accent because no one's gonna know what the heck you're watching." So,
but yeah, that was pretty cool. That was a good choice for letter J.
It intrigued me enough to now want to see it, so I will go see it.
Yeah, and we had some upcoming ideas for Halloween Horror Nights.
Yes, so yeah, it's gonna be very interactive. With all you guys. So what we want to do is, first off, we figured what better way. I mean, I know you might have seen us in some of our some pictures we've done where we're sporting our Civil Gore t-shirts. Now those were just actually technically prototypes. They are not official releases by any means. They were actually, we were supposed to decide on which version we liked and then started going, and then we'd create our little Gore store, the thing we wanted to do. But in the meanwhile, we figured still it would be nice to have kind of, once again, borrowing, I'll put, from Costa Radio, where their little meetups, the meetups they do, they come out with a cool little design for their shirts and stuff. And our good friend EB just did that for our upcoming Branson meetup. So I figured that would be kind of fun if Tim and I throw out a couple of shirt ideas that it would incorporate our logo along with some sort of Halloween Horror Nights kind of statement or something. We're not sure yet, but we figured we'd put a bunch up there and then everyone can vote on which one they think is the better. And that's the one Tim and I will get made up to wear.
Or if you guys have a design you want to submit. Yeah, for us to wear, that would be cool too.
Yeah, we already have a great place that will do it. We just want to, so if you guys think of a cool thing, and anything that, definitely we want to make it, I'm sure we can't exactly borrow the official Halloween Horror Nights logo by any means.
Yeah, we don't want to get sued while we're down there.
Yeah, we don't want to be like pulled off a side and say, "Excuse me, sirs, but you kind of took that logo." So yeah, we can't do that. But anything, I mean, you could say Halloween Horror Nights, Civil Gore represent, something like that, kind of a thing. I think that would be kind of fun for us to walk around and wear. So, and then of course, anyone that's down there, they'll find us and then come up and, of course, if they listen closely, they'll hear Tim's dulcet tones and my obnoxious, loud New York voice, and they probably peg us a mile away anyway with wearing anything. But yeah,
and I'm running a Halloween Horror Nights special. I only charge $30 for an autograph.
There you go. I'm gonna go a little cheaper. I'll just do 28. Give people a break.
But if you give me a Blinky cup, I'll do it for free.
Oh yeah, the Blinky cups should be fun. Yeah, we supposedly the Blinky cups are a big thing down there. So as our footage goes on later into the evenings, Tim and I may be a little bit funnier because
that's right.
We'll have consumed some Blinky cup.
Yeah, and we're also planning on some good-natured competition while we're down there.
Yes, Tim and I usually get along. We definitely do not compete very often for stuff. But we figured it might be fun if we do there's a great mini golf course there, and Tim and I are big mini golf fans. And I had played this when I went a few years ago. They have I think a sci-fi movie theme and a monster movie themed. It's 2-course miniature golf thing. So we were figuring we definitely have to do that while we're down there on our trip. So we figured to make it fun and do a little just a fun competition, see who gets a better score. And then we would also figured possibly doing it for the Men in Black alien attack attraction, which is it's a really, really cool one of those shooting rides that, obviously when Universal and Disney do them, they're really elaborate effects and everything. And this one is no disappointment. It's got a lot of really cool stuff. Especially if you're fans of the Men in Black movie, you'll get a lot out of it. Now, Tim, you never rode it before, right?
I have not. No,
okay.
It'll be first time.
So what we'll do is we'll probably definitely go on it before we do the competition, because we'll do have the express passes, which will really eliminate the line for us, especially since I've been on it a few times and there's a couple little tricks, which I'm going to let Tim know about, but just so he can get a feel of it, because this one is unique. So this ride, you can actually shoot the other car, which sends it spinning.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. So, I mean, most likely we'll be in the same ride vehicles, I assume, or possibly right behind each other, so we wouldn't be competing that way. But, yeah, so if you see the other vehicle and you get hit, your car literally spins around and you're inactive for a little bit. So there's kind of like that little extra competition in there. Yeah, it's kind of fun. So, yeah, so we might do that stuff. Anyone else had any ideas or stuff that they want to see happen, and it should be fun. We'll definitely try and do a lot of live videos and stuff from there. We'll make it fun for all you guys that are watching us at home, I guess.
Cool. We also got some Halloween news coming up. John Carpenter is working on the Halloween 2018 score.
Yes, that's a shock, don't you think? Because who else? Why would they get him to score it? I don't understand. Figure he'd be done with it. No, yeah,
I will be interested to see what he does with it.
Right.
I mean, his scores are just fantastic. I've gushed about his recent albums of film music, some that were not even used in films. They're just original compositions, and they're stellar. They're just really, really good. If you have not tracked those down, go get them. I can't even remember the name of it now, but it's his I think he called it Lost Score.
Yeah, it's something. It's a very basic name, I remember, but it's a cool thing.
Yeah,
and and I was a little nervous because, granted, it would always be his score, but when Trent Reznor, I guess, did the version of it, I think it was, what was it, like 6 months back? I'm like, I wonder if they're going to use that. Maybe that's like his way of kind of giving us a tease of what's to come for the new movie. But I'm kind of glad that the master of horror himself is going to be back to do it. Because that'll be just, granted, you heard it in the trailer, and, how could you watch a Halloween movie without that music? There's just no way.
It should be really, really cool to see what he does with it.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll add some kind of twist to it.
Yeah, and then finally we got a few screeners to review from various folks that we're going to be taking a look at shortly. It's kind of bogged down with our Slaycation right this second in terms of getting all those films in, but as soon as we get a break, we're definitely going to check those screeners out.
Yeah, so thank you guys for sending those in. We're not ignoring it by any means. We definitely plan on watching it, but like Tim said, the next Summer Slaycation topic is going to be a doozy with the Hellraiser series. That's a lot of movies in there too, and it's That's gonna take up some time. I mean, we may get time in between because I think what's after Hellraiser? Is it Psycho we're doing?
Psycho, yeah. Psycho's
right?
Only got 3, right? Or 4.
4, yeah. That's only got 4. I mean, there's the TV show which we'll probably touch on, but really gonna just do the movies. So that'll be a lot easier to possibly sneak the screeners in there. But if not, we'll definitely do it probably right when we get back from the Summer Slaycation shows. It'll be like one of the first ones we'll do.
All right, so let's get right into our dismemberment.
Wait, no, please, God. No, don't cut off my...
These are the Blu-ray releases for July 3rd, 2018. We have some pretty good ones this week. The first one up was my pick of the week. I forgot to put it on the rundown, but definitely my pick of the week. And this is The Last House on the Left, 1972, released by Arrow. This is an Arrow special edition, of course, directed by Wes Craven, starring Sandra Peabody, Lucy Grantham, and David Hess.
Yeah, I'd have to make that my pick of the week, too, based on the other ones. I mean, I know we try and differ, but sometimes we just have no choice when there's when there's a title like this, you know. I mean, it's like, how do you not pick it?
Yeah. This one is 2 teenage girls head to a rock concert for one's birthday while trying to score marijuana in the city. They are kidnapped and brutalized by a gang of psychotic convicts.
I laugh when they say for one's birthday. I always think when they say that, it's seriously. I go to Right Bicentennial Man with Robin Williams, who's like, one wants to go here, one wants to say hello. You know, it's so funny. Like, you know, I know it's proper English the way they say it, but it cracks me up every time. So sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. Like when they're writing the summary, they're trying to like class it up or something.
I know. Weird.
Now this one, strangely enough, I could not find the extras listed on the site I was looking at, so I apologize for that. But considering it's an Arrow release, I'm sure it's got some pretty packed stuff on there.
Yeah, they do a pretty good job. Sometimes they actually rival Scream Factory when they have these type of set movies released. That way, they do a good job at packing in a lot of stuff. So.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I just pulled it up. I looked at Amazon. Actually, had the.
Oh, okay.
They have. It's really too much to list here.
Okay, yeah.
There's a 3-disc limited edition coming out.
Really?
It's got 3 cuts of the film, posters, original soundtrack. I'm just listing some of the highlights. Tons of documentaries, tons of featurettes, deleted scenes, outtakes, a brand new audio commentary. Go to Amazon, look at the disc, read those features. It's crazy.
Well, now it's definitely my pick of the week, and I'm gonna maybe be ordering it actually when we get off here tonight.
Yeah, and it's pretty pricey. I think the pre-order of this one's like $31. So
that's not too bad for all that.
That's
stuff.
not bad but it's hefty. The next one up is interesting. It's our AKA for the week, and it's called Monster Shark, AKA Devilfish. This one's from, I thought this was like a sci-fi original, but it's actually from 1984. And it's being released by Code Red, directed by Lamberto Bava, starring Michael Sopkiw, Sopkiw. I don't have no idea.
Yeah, Sopkiw. And maybe it's like a V sound because Sopkiw.
Valentine Monier and Gianni Garco. Which is like, that's the Italian version of Donnie Darko.
I was just going to say, is that, that's what it has to be.
A marine biologist, a dolphin trainer, a research scientist, and a local sheriff try to hunt down a large sea monster, a shark-octopus hybrid that is devouring swimmers and fishermen off a South Florida coast. There's probably no Jaws influence there with a local sheriff and a marine biologist.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Yeah, I can't imagine anyone would remotely think of that movie. But I will tell you, this probably will frighten Steve Cohn because I don't know if we discussed this, but Steve Cohn is terrified of octopi.
Really? Okay.
Yes, it's hilarious. Like you'll see if you go on. Like I've literally every time I see something like octopus related on the internet, I'll share it on his Facebook page, and he's like, "Gee, thanks," and then I'll get Nicole, his wife, yelling at me in a text message. Great, now you've got him all upset. So he literally is for some reason terrified of octopus. I don't know why. As far as I've known him for a long time now. I don't believe he's ever encountered one to give that fear to him. I do know he doesn't even like that scene in the Goonies Like, or I'm sorry,
Wow.
you know, that's the deleted scene. And in Popeye, he
Yeah.
doesn't even like it when Popeye punches the octopus. So, he's got a true fear.
I don't know. The Popeye one kind of traumatized me as a kid.
Oh, did it? Oh, so maybe,
Yeah.
all right. So maybe that's what it was.
I'm not scared of him, but I will say the scene in Popeye was pretty scary.
Cohen, I'm going to ask you later. Even though you'll hear this, I'll have asked you by now by the time you listen to this. But I'm going to ask you again. What started this fear? It's kind of funny. And now that I've said that,
there's got to be a clinical name for that. So.
yeah, it's got like octopodia or something. I don't know. But now I know I've just invited Tim to probably scour the internet for horrible pictures of octopus to send to Steve. So.
This one does have one extra. It's got an audio commentary, so.
And also we'll have a commentary on Steve Cohn by Steve Cohn.
Yeah.
Well,
It'll just be Steve
Cringing.
Cohn strapped to a chair having to watch this.
Yeah, like
screaming
Clockwork
terror.
Orange. We'll like open his eye and keep it.
The next one up is another Wolf Cop from 2017. This is another in the Wolf Cop series, if you didn't get that by the title.
Yeah.
This one's being released by Image Entertainment, directed by Lowell Dean, starring Leo Fafard, Yannick Bisson, and Amy Maticio.
My God, these names are really like going after Tim today.
Yeah, the alcoholic werewolf cop Lou Garou.
It reminds me of Lou Boo, or like listener Lou Boo.
No, I'm sure it's a takeoff of Rougarou.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lou Garou springs into action when an eccentric businessman with evil intentions seduces Woodhaven's residents with a new brewery and hockey team in this outrageous horror comedy sequel. I have to see this. This looks amazing.
I do too now, because you know what? I'd be the same thing. I'd be dead meat in this thing. I love new breweries, and I'm a huge hockey fan. I'd be in trouble. And you put them two in the same town? Forget it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'd be right up there. I'd be like, so wait, is Wolf Cup the hero? Because so he'd need to save me because
yeah.
Okay, all right.
I don't know. This looks like an amazing. I've heard great things about the Wolf Cop series, and I need to watch these. This one has 4 featurettes and a barn burner music video by Shooting Guns. I'll have to go look that music video up.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow,
This could be a future Civil Gore feature here. Wolf Cop. Maybe, hey, if there's enough of them, it could be a slaycation down the road.
We could. We were at least do a commentary on it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Maybe we should. But I tell you, yeah, I am in trouble because as anyone knows me, knows Julie and I, we're always looking for breweries. And I'm a huge hockey fan, specifically New York Ranger fans, but I love hockey anyway. So a new hockey team coming around would pique my interest. Just like, I mean, there was a new one this past year, the Vegas Knights, Golden Knights. And so imagine that, a brewery and a hockey team brand new in the same town. I don't know. I'd be in trouble. All you got to do is throw in like a Blu-ray store, like in a Best Buy with it, and I'd be dead.
Yeah, but a Vinegar Syndrome outlet.
Oh yeah. So man, oh God, yeah. If this took place in Connecticut, where the Vinegar Syndrome outlet is, you just might as well say goodbye to me now.
Oh, the next one up is The Cured from 2017, released by Shout Factory, directed by David Frayne, starring Ellen Page, Sam Keeley, and Tom Vaughan Lawler. The Cured is
Jerry Lawler's like.
I love this summary. Listen to this. The Cured is a movie starring Ellen Page, Sam Keeley, and Tom Vaughan Lawler.
Didn't you just tell us that?
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
A disease that turns people into zombies has been cured. The once infected zombies are discriminated against by society and their own families, which causes social issues to arise. This leads to militant government interference. I think I remember the preview when this movie was first announced or something.
Yeah. Well, Ellen Page is great. I like watching her and stuff. She's really good.
Yeah, Ellen Page is really good. So
yeah. But she did that one, Into the Forest. That was really good. That she did.
Yeah, this one had no features listed, so I don't know if it has anything on it. But movie sounds interesting.
Actually, if it goes in vain with the description, it would say, this movie has special features.
Yeah. The next one up, Steve Cohn might not like because it has
another one?
octopus demons in it.
Oh my God, this is like the Cohn torture week. What's going on?
This is Call Girl of Cthulhu from 2014, released by Pop Cinema, directed by Chris LaMartina, starring David Philip Carollo, Melissa LaMartina.
So he cast his wife.
His wife, yeah. And Nicolette LaFay.
Faye! Tim, you missed your spot.
Opportunity.
Oh, man. Sorry, that's why I'm there with you. That's why we have co-hosts.
Yeah. That's why I have Brian.
If I miss one, Tim's right there. Tim misses one, I'm right there. There we go.
When a virginal artist There's not too many of those left these days.
Yeah.
When a virginal artist falls in love with a call girl, she turns out to be the chosen bride of the alien god Cthulhu. To save her, he must stop an ancient cult from summoning their god and destroying mankind.
Boy, they give him a big challenge there. Considering he's probably roped up in his art a lot, and then all of a sudden he's got to put his paintbrush down and then go after this. Yeah.
This has some great features on it, though. It has 2 audio commentary tracks, and it has a bunch of featurettes. One which is called Dunwich Horrors. Horror.
Oh, I get it.
And it also has one that looks interesting. My 5-year-old niece explains Cthulhu.
Good, because I don't even know Cthulhu. I have the little figure I have of him, and I know he got voted, so he won. And I know I have not taken pictures
I'm a big
of him
Lovecraft
lately.
fan.
I'm sorry.
I know
but
all
yeah,
that.
so this is the Lovecraft Cthulhu, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, the next one, I did not even put this on the rundown, Brian. I'm boycotting it. I swear to you, guess what came up on this week's rundown for this week's release? Just guess. A wild guess.
Let's see.
Cat O' Nine Tails.
Oh my god. Again?
Again?
What the heck?
I swear I've announced that title like 6 times.
No, probably 9 times.
I
9
literally
times.
did not,
Yeah.
I refused to even put it on the
No,
rundown.
don't anymore. It's never coming out.
And
if
it's
it
on
hasn't
Prime
yet.
for free. Just go watch it for free.
Yeah,
This disc is never coming out.
Sorry to the company which releases it, but you've had maybe way too many chances.
It's an Arrow release. It should have been out.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what's up with that movie. It's like it's like they just need to fill in a spot. They just throw Cat O' Nine Tails.
Yeah, it's like the default setting. You know what it is? Maybe it was like whatever. You know how we use like our form for a rundown and we just write the stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe it's always on there because they just need the thing and they forgot to delete it a couple times when they're
They just
adding.
copy paste the template.
Yeah, they copy paste the template and they forgot to remove it.
I am gonna watch that movie though because it keeps coming back up.
Maybe that's it's like some curse. Until we watch it, it will always stay there.
Yeah. The next one is called "Don't Grow Up" from 2015, released by Magnolia Entertainment, directed by Thierry Purod.
Boy, they went after you this time.
Yeah, this is not a good week for me.
Yeah.
Starring Fergus Riordan, Madeline Kelly, and Mikel David.
Yeah.
The story about a group of youths who can't face the thought of growing up because anyone who does becomes a rampaging zombie.
You know, I gotta say that's kind of an interesting plot. That's kind of a cool, and I'm sure it's a metaphor for just growing up to be an adult that they don't want to do. But it's still kind of like a cool little idea, you know?
Yeah, it's got a handful of little featurettes on here. I read a book one time. I probably mentioned it on the show before about it was and I don't remember the name of the book. Sorry, it's been many years ago. But it was about a zombie plague that only affected adults, so the kids were the only ones left.
Okay.
Kind of reminded me of this. So.
It's actually not a bad. It's piqued my interest to watch it. Actually, if it comes available like on Prime or something, I could see myself watching that one.
Yeah, the next one up is this is our novel length summary of the week.
Oh wow! Oh my god! No kidding.
This one's called The Lullaby. And it's from
and why? Because it put you to sleep?
It'll put you to sleep. Yeah, you're right. Very good. This is released by Uncorked Entertainment.
Oh, yeah, there's a cork.
There's a little apostrophe. You have to say it like Entertainment.
Yeah.
So.
Wow, that was well done, Tim. I like that sound. That was well done.
It was directed by Daryl Root, starring I Am Root. Starring Ryan Swart.
What the heck already this week? Oy.
Brandon Orrit and Thandi Purin.
Yeah. You know what that reminds me of? You saw the movie Gung Ho, right?
Yes.
Remember when Rance Howard, Ron Howard's dad's in it, and he goes, "Hello, I'm Mayor Zwart," and he spits, and the little spit goes, and the guy's like, "That's what this reminds me of."
That's what that is.
When you said Rain Zwart, that's all I could think of.
All right. For some reason, this guy is obsessed with giving the people's ages in this summary, so I'm just gonna do it just like it says. Okay.
Oh my God, you're right.
Returning to her hometown, Eden Rock, and overwhelmed by the birth of her firstborn, Chloe Van Heerden (19) tries to come to terms with motherhood. Despite the support from her loving mother, Ruby (35), Chloe struggles with the demand of being a new mom. The incessant crying of her baby, the growing sense of guilt and paranoia sends Chloe into a dark depression. With a heightened urge to protect her son, Chloe sees danger in every situation. Distraught, she pays a visit to family psychologist Dr. Timothy Reed 40s, who diagnoses her intrusive thoughts and feelings of anxiousness to a mild case of baby blues.
Mild case?
Yet the thoughts grow worse and more violent. Chloe starts to hear voices and humming of a childhood lullaby and sees flashes of a strange entity around her child. Convinced that the entity is real, Chloe does everything in her power to protect her son. Her decline reaches fever pitch, and everybody seems to be moving against her. Desperate, Chloe finds solace in the arms of her childhood friend, Emily Hess, parentheses, 20s. The world around Chloe implodes, and it becomes clear that she and her child are in imminent danger. But from what? Is Chloe haunted by evil, or is it just the baby blues?
You know what? Now, there's a lot to process here. Okay.
Yeah.
But
I was so distracted by the ages.
Yeah.
Why is he obsessed with the ages?
I was gonna say my take on this. 46 years old. I'm looking at this, and I'm seeing that you know, in the core of it, it seems like it could be a really cool psychological thriller. Yet this, I'm sorry to who wrote this, but they watered this down so much that it's like. I don't even know what the heck I almost forgot what the thing was. They could have done this in literally 3 sentences. A woman who is suffering from possible postpartum depression is worried that her son, and she's got paranoid, whatever it is, lullaby is here, and that's it. 3 sentences could have easily been done for this. So, I don't. What do you think, Tim, in your 40s?
43.
43, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wow. That was a doozy. Okay.
God, I didn't even want to look at the special features for this one. I'm like,
yeah. Okay. Can you imagine? Do you think the credits next to everyone's name, it gives their age too? Like in the
maybe.
Yeah.
What's so important about their age?
I don't know. Weird. I really don't understand. I can understand maybe her, Chloe Van Hart, 19, so it shows that she established she's a very young mother.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
But why does it get? I mean, maybe her mom they gave it because she's still young. But really, it doesn't matter. They could have used adjectives to describe that they're young.
I'm surprised they didn't have like the baby 6 weeks.
Yeah, 6 weeks old.
It keeps
six. By the time that's over, the baby's gonna be full grown and be walking around. Yeah, I don't know.
All right, the last one on our list is Grimm, the complete collection. This is the full TV series of Grimm. My phone's telling me lightning was detected. Sorry.
Oh my god! I heard that. That was creepy. I was like, "Wow, what is that?"
It scared me half to death last night. I was sitting here in my room. It was complete quiet. Everybody was asleep, and I hear lightning detected in your area. It's this guy like talking right behind me.
Why is it in that voice? Couldn't it just be a normal voice? They do that on purpose.
I know. I wish it was like Siri. Yeah. Or the Australian Siri.
Can you program it and make it like Gilbert Gottfried? Like, lightning is coming in your area! Get the hell out! That would be
Or
good.
The Michael Caine version.
Oh, can you imagine? Oh, that would be the best if you could program those to do, can you imagine that? Oh,
that thing scares me all the time.
They could have chose so many voices, and instead you got like Pinhead,
Lightning's detected in your area.
You will have one night.
Die.
Yeah, you will have one night of pain and suffering. Oh man.
But anyway, okay, so back to it. Grimm, the complete collection. This is the full TV series from 2011 to 2017, released by Universal Studios. Starving.
Tim's hungry.
I'm hungry, apparently. Starring David Giuntoli. I'm sure people know that name to watch the show, and they're like, "Oh, you're just
like, come on, Tim, get with the program. That's an easy one."
Russell Hornsby and Silas Ware Mitchell. This is about a homicide detective discovers he is a descendant of hunters who fight supernatural forces. And I watched the first season of this. I remember me and Olivia watched this one early on, and then I kind of got bored of the Monster of the Week formula of it, so I never kept up with it. But
yeah, you want to know something funny though? If you look at it, right, that is an entire series that spanned 6 years and got one sentence for a description. When the Lullaby decides to do a entire short story to describe the probably what is arguably probably like an 88-minute movie.
Yeah,
it's funny. It's funny how these things
all right,
go.
Well, unfortunately, no theatrical releases this week. I did not get to see Jurassic World. Oh, you know what? I left something out of the rundown, Brian.
Uh-oh.
I left something out of the rundown. I did see Winchester.
Oh, you got to see it. Okay.
I did get to see it. Yeah, we decided not to go to see Jurassic World because it was kind of getting late. So I just rent a couple movies at Redbox. And we rented Pacific Rim Uprising and Winchester. Pacific Rim Uprising, I'll just toss a quick impression. It was basically take Pacific Rim and make it PG-13, and that is Pacific Rim Uprising. It stars a bunch of teenagers.
And John Boyega, though. John Boyega's in it.
It does have John Boyega in it.
Yes, so that's always a good thing.
It wasn't bad. It was dumb fun. But Winchester was okay. I liked it. I agree with you. I thought it kind of went off the rails in the second half a little bit, but the first half I really enjoyed. Jump Scare City. Oh my god. Now, fortunately, I was kind of prepped for the jump scare stuff, and I caught most of them before they got me, but one got me really good, and it's probably the one you had referred to.
Oh, yeah.
That one got me real good. I jumped off the couch a little bit on that one. But yeah, I quite liked Winchester. All right, so our main feature tonight, we get into the back half of the Child's Play series. First up was Bride of Chucky from 1998, directed by Ronnie Yu, written, of course, by Don Mancini, starring Jennifer Tilly, Brad Dourif, Katherine Heigl, which I had not remembered she was. I always forget that she's in these horror movies for some reason.
Because she's so far removed from those type of movies now.
Yeah.
That it's weird when you. I forgot she was. Yeah, she did this one too. So yeah.
But the summary is Chucky hooks up with another murderous doll, the bridal gown-clad Tiffany, for a Route 66 murder spree with their unwitting host, two eloping high school graduates. So this is, of course, the introduction of Tiffany, who has become, I would say, a fan favorite. I think everybody likes Tiffany. And of course, Jennifer Tilly. So
right.
This was kind of a cool new departure for the franchise, because we'd gone through 3 of the core films that were very different from each other, but they were basically the same kind of structure,
right?
Of Chucky, kind of tracking down Andy. And by the way, we mentioned in the last episode that we weren't quite sure why he was going after Andy. And I think I may have an answer to that.
Oh, okay. Good.
I ran across it. I was watching some stuff on Cult of Chucky, and I heard somebody just kind of mention it in passing that perhaps, and maybe I missed this, and maybe I'm completely barking up the wrong tree, but that he could only use his spell to possess somebody that knew he was alive or something like that. Whatever the reasons, for some reason, Andy was the only one he could actually get into and possess. But
we know that's not true. As that goes on,
we know that's not true. Yeah, we know that's not true even in Child's Play 3, because he had decided he was going to try to possess the younger boy.
Yeah,
Andy,
but he did see him move, so maybe it's. I don't know. I mean, I get that theory too, but yeah, I mean, we'll have to really look. I'm going to look into that more. It was more about trying to watch him and not, really go do too much. I definitely want to plan to research some of that, because I did have some questions throughout the whole series after seeing it all now again in succession like I did. So, I mean, I got to tell you, though, Bride of Chucky, I remember seeing it, and for some reason, I know this may be like against popular opinion, but I remembered it better than it actually was. Maybe because I think I loved the Tiffany character, and I loved Jennifer Tilly in it. But overall, I don't know. I thought the movie, I thought I would enjoy it better seeing it again. But I don't know. For some reason, I didn't like this one as much as I thought.
I had the same impression on rewatching it. I remembered it a lot more fondly than I did when I went back and watched it again.
Maybe it's because okay, good. Maybe it's because we saw the first 3 now so close to it.
Yeah.
And you see the stark difference. Because I remember when I saw it a while ago, whenever it was out, on cable the first time, I remember I hadn't seen 1, 2, and 3 in years at that point. So maybe, I don't know, maybe just I was just like, I didn't remember how different the first 3 were as compared to this. So maybe that's what it is. And don't get me wrong, it's not that it's, I mean, let's put it this way, at horror movies go, there's a lot like, crappy sequels. I don't put this by any means as a crappy sequel. Just in comparison to some of the other ones, it's not as one of my favorites like I thought it was back in the day. I don't know. I mean, like I said, Jennifer Tilly is fantastic, and since she added a whole new dimension to the franchise when she got into it, and Tiffany, the doll, is a great addition as well. And there's nothing wrong with her character. I don't know if it was just the the plot to this one was, other than the Tiffany aspect, it was just like them running, runaway. I don't know what it was.
I did not like the road trip aspect of this one. I thought it was kind of claustrophobic, where they're just kind of stuck in this vehicle the whole time.
Right.
I think that's the piece that I didn't like about it. It was, I don't know, I just did not like that format for a Chucky movie, that road trip format.
And it kind of dragged on a little when it did that.
Yeah.
And this had, and look at that, this had John Ritter in it, who was one of my favorite actors of all time. I was I remember when they found out he passed away, I was devastated. I was like, oh my God, it was my childhood growing up watching Three's Company, and and so it's like the fact that he was in it, I almost forgot he was in it. I'm like, oh my God, that's right, he's in this. And so I'm like, and I was all set to like just love this movie, and I didn't love it as much as the other ones. I don't know. I mean, it's in a series as a whole, you're not going to get everyone as a they all can't be your favorite one. It's like, you're going to have to
for my money, this was probably one of my least favorite entries of
I agree.
The entire series.
And I was surprised by it because I loved the character of Tiffany so much in it.
But that's the thing, though. It's so weird because it is the episode that introduced Tiffany,
right? Which
we all love.
Right,
we love that character. So it's very strange that at least to me, that one of my least favorite entries introduced one of my favorite characters.
Right.
I don't know.
Go figure. I don't get it. But oh well.
But I can understand why they went in a totally different direction. I mean, you had quite a bit of time pass between the last Child's Play movie. It was like 7 years.
Yeah.
And so you had to go in kind of a unique direction to bring people back to the Child's Play franchise. So I can understand why they did it. Like I said, I probably would have liked it better if they had not used the road trip format.
Yeah.
And so it's an interesting movie in that respect. It's definitely worth watching.
Oh, you have to watch it.
Yeah, you have to watch it because you have to get all the background on Tiffany and stuff. And like you said, it's not bad.
Right, it's not bad.
In terms of like Halloween 6.
No, it's not like that kind. Yeah, it's not that. It's not like the black eye of the sequels or the black sheep of the sequel, whatever term you want to use, to disparage a sequel. It's not that. It's.
But there is a stark difference between this movie and the movies that would follow.
Right.
And again, that's the director, because Ronnie Yu directed this one, but the rest of the movies from here on out would be directed by Don Mancini.
And even he did, and of course, as we get to the next one, we see it was completely different, I think, from everyone.
So it went about that one.
Yeah, I mean, it literally is. Now you have this meta horror comedy as the next edition, which, obviously with Bride of Chucky, you started to, I mean, the other ones had its humor a bit, because of Chucky itself.
Right, yeah.
But these started to become almost part comedy, part horror. And that's the difference. I think these next two have that element to it. Now, here's the thing. I think, and this may be, I could be wrong, but this may be what is weird. So obviously the first three went straight horror with just the wisecrack comedy of Chucky, which is right. it's standard, in horror movie. The villain has the line. Bride of Chucky kind of didn't, was trying to introduce both. Where this next one said, you know what, it's considered a horror because of the violence in it, but to me, this is a straight comedy. This is a comedy. Seed of Chucky.
Yeah, Seed of Chucky was 2004.
Yeah, so and a meta comedy to be no less. It's
this is 6 years later, and everybody had widely presumed the next movie would be something about the offspring of Tiffany and Chucky, as unlikely as that is that two dolls could have a baby. But Don Mancini went way bonkers with this one. And not only did he introduce the offspring of Chucky and Tiffany, but this became a full-on gender-bending John Waters homage.
And what's Ed Wood homage with Glenn and Glenda. I mean, that's like, they literally, if you think about it, this movie is wacky, and if you describe it to someone, they're going to say, what? How is that? But yet I like this one much better than Bride of Chucky.
It's very entertaining. The Glenn Glenda doll is so creepy looking.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's the weirdest design that they could have gone with.
And the fact that he's British. You know?
Yeah, he like speaks with a British accent. I mean, it's the most bizarre setup for a movie. Like he starts off as basically like it's like the beginning of the Elephant Man, where he's like kept in a cage and
he has a dream. It's like a dream sequence. I mean, for a doll, you're like, what the hell?
This movie is insane.
Yeah.
I think I like it because of that. It's
Me too.
So off the rails.
Because that's the thing he said. Don Mancini went at this point. He goes, okay, here's where I want my franchise to go right now. I am going to go over the top. And like we've said countless times on this, if you're going to do a horror comedy, go full bore. And this may have done it better than any of them. I mean, if you think about it.
I'll go ahead and read the summary for those that have not seen it. But like I said, it was directed and written by Don Mancini, starring Jennifer Tilly, Brad Dourif, and John
Waters. Is his first one, right? His first directing out of the series, right? Yeah.
Yep. So the summary is: the killer doll is back. Glenn, the orphan doll offspring of the irrepressible, devilish doll come to life Chucky and his equally twisted bride Tiffany. When production starts on a movie detailing the urban legend of his parents' lethal exploits, Glenn heads for Hollywood, where he brings his bloodthirsty parents back from the dead. The family dynamics are far from perfect as Chucky and Tiffany go Hollywood and get rolling on a new spree of murderous mayhem, much to gentle Glenn's horror. Chucky can't believe that his child doesn't want to walk in his murdering footsteps, and star-struck Tiffany can't believe that the movie will star her favorite actress, Jennifer Tilly, who soon becomes an unwitting hostess to this new family in more ways than one.
You know what's funny with this one? So this one may have been one of the best ways to explain, and the most creative one, that how like Chucky and Tiffany came back. Because if you saw, obviously the end of the previous movie, she was all burnt up, and he was, what did he get? He got shot, right, and blown. Yeah, he was like in pieces. So I was wondering, I'm like, all right, how are they going to bring him back? But then again, we've said this in the first set. We're like, they don't really need to explain how he comes back. He just always does come back, kind of, in a way. But yet this one had somewhat of a plausible explanation if you encapsulate it in the mythology of the film. However, I do want to know how this puppet, who's never seen the light of day, found a way to get from wherever he was all the way to Hollywood on the back of a truck.
It's so bizarre. Well, the thing is, it would have been so easy to do a baby Chucky movie.
Right.
And have like this little demon Chucky offspring run around killing people.
Right.
In fact, so Don Mancini goes the exact opposite route. He makes this really good doll, good-hearted doll.
Right.
That doesn't want to kill. And I love the interaction between Chucky and Glenn when he first finds out it's his offspring. Because it's almost like he's just disgusted.
Yeah.
that he produced this thing. And it was such a cool dynamic of basically going the exact opposite of what you would think. And then to even put this whole gender bending thing where Glenn doesn't know if he's a boy or a girl.
Right.
It was so bizarre and like kind of ahead of its time.
Yeah, nowadays, right? I mean, if that was done now, you would have thought, oh, wow, they're being topical.
Yeah, exactly.
But yet this was back then. And, obviously...
9 years.
15.
Almost. 15 years. 14, almost 15 years.
2004, sorry, yeah, 14.
Yeah.
No, and it's, and it's because there's obviously the Glenn and Glenda, which was a Ed Wood film. So you had that, and then there's John Waters, campiness, and John Waters is actually in it.
Right.
Playing himself. So that, you got that in there. So he definitely went over the top and a lot of craziness. I mean, for the fact that you see Chucky basically pleasuring himself in a pretty extended sequence, I guess. And you notice this break from 3 into the Bride of Chucky 2, like, it started a new trend of a lot more gore and gross out graphic stuff, which I mean, remember I was saying how it's like it was interesting the first 3 get a lot through a slasher genre without really showing too much just straight out gore. But now they kind of went over the top, but this one needed it. This one needed all that crazy gore and stuff, because like you said, like, go over the top, and he went over, like, it's like, go big or go home. That he went big.
Yeah.
And it was,
and I would have to say that this one also introduced the whole meta aspect that would actually play into the rest of the movies.
Right, but it's much more subtly, which was really well done.
Yeah, one of the things that I thought was interesting, though, about and we'll talk about it more when we get to the next 2 films, is that as crazy as this one is, it would have been very easy to just do a reboot and forget that all this happened.
Right.
But since Don Mancini's writing all these, he makes sure there's a continuity running through all these films. So it doesn't matter how crazy they get.
Right.
In the next 2 films, he's going to rein it back in, but he's going to make sure the storyline stays consistent, which is really, really, really cool thing. I have not watched the commentaries for these later movies, but I cannot wait.
To, yeah.
Oh man, I can't wait to hear the commentary for this one because I want to know what he was thinking.
Yeah, and it was funny. One of the things that you said when we in the first part of this, and it still holds true to this one, and it was always in the back of my mind watching it. It's amazing how consistent Chucky is character-wise in it. Even though there's a little the next 2, he's a little bit more controlled, I might say, but he's still got the same personality throughout, which pretty amazing when you think of so many films and to keep it so consistent. And obviously, the same writer is doing it, but we've seen the same writer do things and really change the character because based on the movie he wants. But he kept Chucky as Chucky. He's a killer person, and even he evolves to some level as we get in the next one when he decides. Remember, he basically says, "I think it was in Curse. Is it in Curse of Chucky, or is it in this one where he says I'm a killer doll? Oh, it's this one where he says, "Listen, I'm a killer doll. I'm done with it. That's what I want to be now. I've accepted it." Yeah. So it's like, I remember the plot of the first ones where he wanted to get into a body to get out of being a doll, but here now he's accepted it because he realizes he almost gets like a bit of fame in his head. He gets to his head, which is great. Yeah.
So after Seed of Chucky, you had the biggest break in a Child's Play.
Yeah,
between Child's Play movies ever. Yeah, it was a 9-year break. So we did not get Curse of Chucky until 2013. And I remember when this one came out, man, I was so excited because it looked really dark. And you could tell that they now had to rein this franchise back in because it was in danger of kind of going off the rails with Seed of Chucky. As good as that movie was, it was way out there.
Right. You could not have the rest of the series follow that kind of style because I think you would have lost it.
Yeah, you would have gotten to self-parody at that point. So, Curse of Chucky brings things back to kind of a horror movie element.
Really dark, too. And actually,
really, really dark.
And I have to say, out of all the ones, I mean, Cult of Chucky is really close to it, as we'll get to next, but I think this is my second favorite one, Curse of Chucky. Actually, out of the original 3, and then, with one being my favorite, I think this might be my second favorite, actually. I love this one, and I did not expect to love it as much, but I just got the second this started, the tone of it and the darkness of it, and especially when you watch them back to back, like I literally watched Seed of Chucky and then went right into this one. The contrast was so severe, and and even the Chucky doll the look of him is different a little bit. He's got this more of they kind of it's funny, they gave him more of a kidified face of the original doll, but then when he became Chucky, really the meanness of him was like really kind of creepy compared to the other version where he just looked angry and stitched, stitched up. Yeah. This he had a really eerie supernaturally quality to him, which this one I just got sucked into it right away. I loved it. I loved that it was dark and it was in a house that was all gothic looking, and
it's almost like a haunted house movie with Chucky inside of it. I'll read you the summary for this one. After the events of Seed of Chucky, Nika, a young woman forced to a wheelchair since birth, has to regroup her sister Barb and her brother-in-law Ian for a funeral after the death of her mother. While dealing with Barb, Ian, along with their 5-year-old daughter Alice, Nika receives an odd package, a creepy doll. After people start showing up dead, the fearless Nika soon suspects that the creepy doll is much more than just a doll. And then, of course, Nika introduces... the character Nika is the introduction of Fiona Dourif, who is Brad Dourif, the voice of Chucky's daughter, which is really, really cool.
And she's great. She's
awesome.
Great. She's one of them, and I think she was one of the reasons why. Another reason why I love this one so much, because the introduction of her character. I mean, it's almost as as you see later on. I mean, if this if the TV series picks up later on, like it's planned and continues this storyline, she should. I mean, her character is going to feature in it heavily, I would think. And she's and I'm excited about that. It's almost like the introduction of Alice or Tommy in Friday the 13th, and Alice in Nightmare on Elm Street. That kind of a character that comes along and and just redirects the franchise a little bit. And it gives, what I liked is that they eventually gave her a connection to Charles Lee Ray.
Right,
which was fantastic way to bring it all back from before the first one, technically. So it's amazing. Like, Don Mancini, I don't know if he gets enough credit for this entire series as a whole, because it's probably laughed about. People still look at it as, oh, it's a killer doll movie. But he does such a good job of making it an entire franchise that sticks together, no matter how zany it gets or no matter how many grounded it gets.
Yeah, and we'll see in Cult of Chucky how he kind of wraps all this stuff up for fans, because he there's never a character introduced that doesn't have a purpose or a reason for being there. And
right.
I love how he does all these callbacks to other entries in the franchise. You can tell he really loves and is proud of this franchise.
Yeah, and
he loves the fans, and he wants to give them Easter eggs and stuff that fans would really appreciate.
Oh my God, down to the very end. Post-credit scene, no less, of Cult of Chucky. Yeah.
So, so it was fantastic as Curse of Chucky was. I was super excited again about Cult of Chucky in 2017. So 4 years later, he directs the most recent follow-up. And this one starred Alison Dawn Doiron, Alex Vincent, and Brad Dourif.
Yeah, so Alex Vincent comes back full blast.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a taste of him in the previous one, but this is where he's back for good. Grown-up Andy.
And how cool is that they get the same child actor from the original Child's Play to come back as an adult and play the same character? I mean, that's just too cool. And
play it all in, too.
Yes.
I mean, we've seen characters come back later on, and it's been like a little wink, wink, nod, nod. No, he comes back, and he is... And I got to tell you, he grew up to be a really good actor because he pulls this off perfectly.
Yeah, I don't know what he's been doing. Like, I don't know if he's been acting or if he just came back for this movie, but it was fantastic.
Right,
I'll read the summary. After accused of murdering her family, so this takes place directly after Curse.
Right.
After accused of murdering her family, Nika is taken to an asylum and thinks that she's the cause of the deaths of her family. However, when grisly deaths start to occur, she then realizes that Chucky, her illusion, might not be make-believe. She also finds out that the doll is slowly starting to possess anyone or anything to join a huge cult to kill off Chucky's victims, but things don't go well in the asylum, including for Chucky's long-lost friend Andy Barclay, who tries to stop the cult from getting bigger while also trying to get past Chucky's wife, Tiffany.
The fact that she's back is great.
Yeah, this one introduces a new element that's huge. Well, I guess it was touched upon in Curse of Chucky, but that's the fact that now Chucky can inhabit not just the same doll over and over. He can now basically split his soul into multiple dolls at the same time, or people for that matter. Like, this is crazy. Like, the ramifications of this, and it's basically because he finds a new spell in a
off the
website.
internet, as he
off
says,
the internet.
which is great. It's like a little wink, nod to the time frame now. Okay, we're in the internet age. Chucky's still around.
You can just Google a new spell.
Yeah, Google's it. Yeah, you gotta love that.
But I loved Cult of Chucky because, man, the gore in this one is fantastic.
It's amazing you can get this far into a series and the last two become some of your favorites, because usually by that point, and again, I know we keep saying this, but it's a tribute to Don Mancini's writing, that he could continue to make this story and character fresh after all these films and all this time frame. I mean, literally, when was the first one out? 89?
Yeah, 88. Yeah, so you know what I love about it is he doesn't feel the need, even though we're so many years later and we're kind of resurrecting this character. He doesn't feel the need to go back and rehash the origins and everything. He went into Cult of Chucky just as if you should know every aspect of this franchise. If you're going to watch this movie, you need to have watched everything else, and you need to be a fan. And if you're not a fan, that's okay. You can enjoy it for what it is, but you're going to get the most out of it if you're a fan. I don't know why they can't do another Nightmare on Elm Street or another Friday the 13th or another Halloween, which it looks like they maybe are, that just goes from that perspective where I don't care about pleasing the guy off the street that's never seen a Halloween movie. Like, I want to please the fans that have been here from the beginning, that have watched every entry multiple times. That's who I'm going to go for. And I think the new Halloween will probably do that. But Cult of Chucky definitely did that. I mean, it was fan service, but it was...
But not a detriment to the story, right? Yeah.
not detrimental fan service, if that makes any sense, but it was.
No, it does, because we've seen movies that do that,
right?
And and actually, it's almost like a strange parallel to where the Cult of Chucky is us, the fans. You know, it's
right.
like
yeah.
at some level, it's like we're the Cult of Chucky because we love the character, we're invested in it, and if you're into this movie, you've been watching it, and you're a fan, and you get it all, and you're right in there with it.
Yeah. So should we do spoilers for the ending? We might have to.
I mean, we might have to. I guess, yeah, because, I mean, in order to sum this series up, I mean, granted, this is recent. You know, it's only a year old, but hopefully everyone's seen it. But if not, I guess we'll give you a second to
this is a spoiler
pause.
alert. So you pause the podcast now if you haven't seen Cult of Chucky and come back after you've watched it.
Yes.
So, fair warning. But yeah, so the end of Cult of Chucky, or towards the end, we not only get Chucky possessing Nika. So he's now in Nika's body because he can now possess people.
Right. And she's great, the twist she turns
when
she's possessed by him. I mean, she almost like embodies, like, I mean, granted, it's her father, so how hard of a stretch can she? But you know, but still, she's just like, it's night and day because she's like, I mean, she's an attractive woman. She's got most of the time, you know, she plays this, like, you know, somewhat of a victim. I mean, she's been in a wheelchair since birth, and, you know, you find out in Curse of Chucky how that happens. And, you know, she's always she's always like, you know, she's you know, you feel bad for her. Something, it just, everything is going wrong. She's abused by her psychologist. So, and, you know, she's blamed for this. She's living with this guilt that and then responsible. You find out that her niece was killed, and then all the blame on her. And then she gets possessed by him, she turns right into like the Charles Lee Ray version of her, and you're like, it's amazing the transformation she does in like a blink of an eye.
Yeah. So at the end of Cult of Chucky, we find out, so now Chucky is in her body, and we also find out that, of course, Tiffany is in Jennifer Tilly's body.
Yes.
The actual Jennifer Tilly.
So and isn't there a joke one where in there where she says,
she says
something like, I don't even know where I...
Oh, go ahead. It might be a different one.
No, I don't remember where it was. She said something like, oh, I don't know, you know, like, it says, she said, they make a joke to, like, the audience almost, like, I don't even know which one I'm in now, or something like that. I can't remember it.
Yeah,
but she makes a joke that you don't know if it's Jennifer Tilly or
her playing somebody else.
Playing someone else.
But, I believe she's actually supposed to be Jennifer Tilly with Tiffany inside of her. But Tiffany's also in the doll, so her soul's split now.
Right, so she must have Googled also.
Yeah, so
I guess.
Yeah, so it's crazy. So at the end, you have them all basically getting in a car together and heading out for, I don't know, the TV series. Who knows? We don't.
I guess.
And then the post-credit scene. Tell us about that one.
Yeah, so the post-credit scene, it was, you know, and it's funny. There was a picture when they were in Andy's house earlier. They showed all the like different. When they introduced, in case there was a little bit like, okay, in case you're not sure this is Andy, they kind of cleared it up by showing him his families and his picture from the military academy at the sign, but they went all the way back to Child's Play 2 here and brought back Kyle. Which I was like, oh my god. When I saw like the shape of her coming, I'm like, that can't be. Are they actually bringing her back? I said, that is great. Christina Elise comes back, reprises her role as Kyle to basically, yeah, we didn't say this, but basically Andy has the original Chucky in his head, and he's literally torturing this thing. It's locked in a way. That, to me, was so cool. I'm like, oh my god, he's literally torturing this thing. This is great. And he's just like, and it's just locked away, and it just shows like that Andy has really got an element. And it's funny, they show a real quality to him that he's struggling in life. Like, he can't even get a date because it's like he goes on a date and it fails because he's got this dark past, and she can read right into it, that he's got guns, and it's just so funny that how he even got the Andy character, which probably would be exactly what he'd be like.
Yeah.
Like if what he went through as a kid. But I guess his mom's okay, right? Because he was talking to his mom on the phone. Yeah, so I guess she got out of the asylum years later.
But it's just so cool how they go tie this all the way back to the original core series, and so that was a lot of fun. I cannot wait to see what they do next with this franchise.
Oh, yeah. If this show comes out, I'm, like, all in. I'm all in now because, like, I mean, the last two entries were so strong that if I feel gypped if we don't get anything beyond this.
Yeah.
I really would.
I think it'll be good.
Yeah, and I got to say one thing, since we're already in spoilers, this one I thought was one of the most brilliant sequences in the movie. And, so when all of a sudden, like, when there's already 2 Chuckies running around this asylum, a third one arrives, and it's got short hair.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, I'm like, okay, and they even make a comment, they're like, oh, what's with the haircut? And I'm like, why is there the short hair? And it was brilliant. Andy did that so he'd know which one he hid the gun in. And I'm like, what a smart writing move. It's like, I would have never thought to do that. You figured you would have put draw like an X on him or something. I would have done something like that. But it was cool that they made it a short hair one. And I remember I was like, until he was reaching in, I'm like, oh my God, that's why he did that with the short hair. I said, because Julie walked in, I think she was walking in and out, and she even said that. She goes, why does he have short hair? And I said, it's brilliant. He did that so he'd know he hid the gun in there. I'm like, oh, what a great idea.
Yeah.
So,
awesome.
And also, it's great is this ends with a lot of unanswered questions. You want to see what happens with Charles Lee Ray / Nika and Tiffany / Jennifer Tilly and Andy, who's still trapped in the asylum, and also of course Kyle now is back. I wonder
I'm
hopefully
sure she's gonna
prominently
bust Andy out somehow.
Right, because she was sent there to like torture the original Chucky again, and so I'm like hoping she's a character in it. I mean, even if they can't get Christina Elise back, which I don't know why they wouldn't. I don't know what she's doing lately, and she was more than willing to come back for this. Yeah. And it just seems like the actors that come into this role, probably the only one exception I could see is Katherine Heigl. Probably wants to leave this behind.
Yeah, I don't see her coming back.
Yeah, but other than that, I think the people that are involved in this just love that, and I love the being in the franchise. I mean, Jennifer Tilly's a big enough actress that she did not need to come repeat these roles.
Yeah,
I would think.
She clearly has fun with it.
Oh, she loves it, and it's obvious she loves it, and it's great. And I want again. I mean, I know we've been singing his praises, but Don Mancini, I guarantee you, is part because when you hear actors say this all the time, when the writing is good and the writing is what they like, they probably love the writing of this movie. How they're just not throwing out their stuff. There was obviously a goal in mind he had for this series, and he kept towards it.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get to our beer pairing. Yes, we have a new beer pairing this week, even though it's just a part 2. Brian went the extra mile.
I did, because, I mean, like the series shifted, I figured, well, we need a different type of beer for the second half of this. And so I thought this was probably pretty funny, based off of a little bit off of the Seed of Chucky. It's called Next of Kin. It's a golden stout. It's by Bitter Brothers Brewing Company. They're out of San Diego. This one for a stout is pretty low in ABV. It's only 6.0, but I guess it's in the description kind of makes sense. It's a golden stout, and they say it has all the characteristics of a stout, but lighter in color. It says it pours on nitro, so the creamy mouthfeel enhances the light roasted flavor of the coffee. It's silky smooth with a pleasant sweetness and notes of toffee, coffee, and caramel that brings out long-lasting flavors that leave you wanting more.
That sounds good, because a lot of stouts are just a little too heavy for me.
Stout
sounds interesting.
And this one is a light one. Yeah, and great. Just like the end of the series, it leaves you wanting for more.
Yeah,
so even the description matched perfect. And that was just happenstance. I did not read the description completely before I did that. Was when I was transcribing, and I'm like, oh, look, another
that's awesome
connection. That works good. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, our 6 degrees of decapitation last week, we asked you to connect Perry Reeves to Keanu Reeves. We can do this one in 2 easily.
Yes.
Perry Reeves was in Kicking and Screaming with Olivia Dabo. Dabo. And Olivia Dabo was in Flying with Keanu Reeves.
So look at that one.
There you go. I'm doing it too. And
yeah, I think my next one I went back to my comedic play on words.
I thought you would do like a Jennifer Tilly to Meg Tilly, but.
Well, that was so easy.
Easy, yeah.
It's 2 also. They're all 2 nowadays. Let's face it. I'm not getting past 2. But I figured, it's like, it's that one. Although I don't think they've actually never been in a movie together,
really?
But still. Yeah.
Well, so current week we're going to ask you to connect Jennifer Tilly to Mel Tillis.
The country great Mel Tillis.
Of all people. So, so you could do that one in 2 if you're smart.
Well, it's almost like Meg Tilly, so it's like Mel Tillis.
Yeah,
I
was just going to
play. Yeah. It's double fun. But yeah, and this, of course, you can get to that in 2. Surprise, surprise.
All right, so next week, our Summer Slaycation continues with the Hellraiser series, and I got to get cracking on these.
I know. I was actually I was planning on doing it last night, but I was so tired, and I I think I'll probably start this tomorrow night and try and knock out at least the first 3 this week, if not go right through, and instead I get a head start on week 2.
Yeah.
But by the way, thanks to Cody again. She heard our pleas when we were a little confused on which way order was, and she sent us a nice list of the exact order too.
Nice, thank you, Cody.
So she's always good to help out, and we so I thanked her on the internet, in the message too. But we're gonna thank her on the podcast as well, because she's always such a good help.
Yeah. Next week will be the first 3 movies in the Hellraiser series. That'll be, of course, Hellraiser, Hellbound, Hellraiser 2, and Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth. Arguably the 3 best movies in the series, so we're going to be knocking those out first. Part 2 will be literal Hell on Earth, possibly.
Yeah.
Those are kind of hit or miss, so mostly miss. But,
one's in space. I know literally 2 came out the same year. I mean, what the hell?
It's going to be interesting. I kind of have a morbid curiosity, because I have not seen all of the later entries, so I'm almost...
I barely remember the first 3, honestly, because I haven't seen them in so long. So to me, this is almost like I haven't seen any of them in a way.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of,
I watched the first 3 fairly regularly. I've watched both, at least definitely the first 2. I watched within the past couple years, and I'm watching them again for this series. So I'm pretty familiar with those, and to a lesser extent 3, but the rest of them, no way.
Yeah, I just can't imagine, especially after like such a strong opening to our Summer Slaycation, that after the first 3, this is gonna live. Unless we could be pleasantly surprised. I don't know. I mean, maybe I misremembered some of the confusing ones, which ones I saw later on, I don't know, but I do know that it's going to be hard to beat the last the Chucky series. Yeah. But we figure we have to start off strong. Yeah. I mean, we got.
Although I think the Psycho series will be awesome.
Oh, that one. Well, that's that one's
gonna be a great time. I think we'll probably do. It'd be interesting whether we break that up between 1 and 2, or just do 1 by itself.
I think 1 needs to be by itself.
Yeah.
That's because I mean, we had talked about doing that as a feature a while ago anyway.
Yeah.
And we basically saved it for the Summer Slaycation show. I think that one is too legendary, I think, in the history of horror not to have its own.
We might do, yeah. That sounds good.
Yeah.
And then Saw, well, who knows? We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yes, Saw. Yeah,
all right, guys. We'll wrap it up here. We'll see you back next week for the start of Pinhead Part 1.
So guys, if you get any mysterious boxes that are Chucky sized, be careful when you open it.